Welcome to the Deep Dive, where we translate complex source material into practical knowledge for you. Today, we're doing, I think, one of our most vital deep dives yet. It's specifically tailored for you if you're in the 40 to 80 age range. Our goal: to extract the most critical, actionable insights on managing cardiovascular health. We'll cover causes, essential symptoms to watch for, and the latest lifestyle advice that could genuinely make a difference.
Absolutely. And this is all based on recent expert guidance, really honing in on prevention and early detection. We have to start by just acknowledging the sheer scale of this. Cardiovascular and cerebrovascular diseases, CVD and CVD, are actually the second biggest killer in South Korea, just behind cancer. We're talking about serious events like heart attacks, strokes, but also the conditions that often lead up to them, like high blood pressure and diabetes.
And the main villain in this story, according to our sources, is often called the silent killer. That's arteriosclerosis, the hardening of your arteries and the blood clots that can form because of it.
Right. And what's really terrifying about this is how stealthy it is. Your blood vessels, they don't have pain receptors. So you generally won't feel anything, no symptoms at all, until those vessels are maybe 70% or even more blocked.
70%. Wow.
Exactly. So by the time you do feel something, you're already in a pretty high-risk situation.
Which is precisely why we're focusing so much on prevention and catching things early. For you, listening, those risk factors really start to ramp up quite aggressively, actually, once you hit your 40s and 50s. So we want to give you a kind of blueprint for managing that.
Okay, let's start with why. Why is this 40 to 80 age group particularly vulnerable? Well, the risks for hypertension, diabetes, and high cholesterol dyslipidemia, they start climbing sharply in your 40s. I mean, get this. By the time people are in their 60s, over half of them, 50%, already have hypertension.
And you can picture the physical changes too, right? Imagine a healthy blood vessel. It's like a soft, stretchy tube. Arteriosclerosis changes that completely. It turns it into a hard, stiff pipe. And the sources are really clear on this. Once that hardening starts, you can't reverse it.
It can be undone.
Yeah, so that fact alone just underscores why prevention is absolutely everything.
And we also need to highlight a specific risk increase related to gender. For women, the time right after menopause is really critical because estrogen levels drop significantly. The rate at which the carotid artery wall thickens, that's a key health marker, actually speeds up. It's about 2.5 times faster than in premenopausal women.
That hormonal shift needs real attention then, proactive management.
Definitely.
Okay, let's pivot now to something really practical. The latest updates to the Korean CDC's 9 lifestyle principles. And these aren't just small adjustments. They represent some major shifts in thinking, especially in 3 key areas.
Yes, they're quite significant. First up, smoking. The new guidance is strict. Total abstinence is mandatory, and they're very specific. All types of tobacco. That includes regular cigarettes, liquid e-cigs, heated tobacco products. There's just no evidence any of them are safe when it comes to CVD prevention.
Okay, no wiggle room there. What's the second big change?
Alcohol. This one's a big shift. You know, for years, the advice was often about moderation, maybe 1 or 2 drinks a day. The new guideline: total abstinence, no alcohol.
Whoa, hang on. Total abstinence. It's a huge departure from the glass of red wine is good for the heart idea that was around for so long. Is the evidence really that strong now? 0 alcohol is better than moderation.
It is, yes. The source material reflects a growing consensus. The evidence increasingly shows that even what we considered low or moderate alcohol intake isn't beneficial for preventing heart disease. In fact, it can increase the risk for things like arrhythmia. So purely for cardiovascular prevention, the official updated recommendation is 0.
Okay. That's a tough one for many people, I imagine, but really crucial information. And the third major update.
It's about physical activity.
Yeah.
So besides the usual advice on regular aerobic exercise, they're now really emphasizing the need to cut down on prolonged sitting time. It's directly addressing our modern sedentary lifestyles both at work and at home.
That makes sense. And finally, we can't ignore those often linked factors: stress and sleep. Stress is a massive factor. It keeps your blood pressure high, which increases the risk for arrhythmias and that artery hardening, arteriosclerosis. Plus, stress often leads us to unhealthy habits, right? Like comfort eating, maybe drinking more, or smoking.
Exactly. And sleep is interesting too. It's not just about not enough sleep being bad. The data points both ways. Getting too much sleep, say 9 hours or more regularly, and having really irregular sleep patterns, those are both identified as risk factors for CVD and CVD.
That actually leads us perfectly into our next section. If these diseases are so silent, how can our bodies possibly give us clues? We found some, well, surprising self-checks you can actually do right now to get a sense of your vascular age.
Right. These are like little aha
Yeah.
moments potentially hiding right in front of you.
Okay, the first one is fascinating. Look in the mirror at your forehead wrinkles. Research has actually linked deep, prominent wrinkles on the forehead to cardiovascular disease. One study even suggested a 7 times higher risk of dying from CVD for those with deep wrinkles.
Oh, 7 times. Yeah. The thinking behind it is structural. Plaque that builds up in your major arteries likely affects those tiny blood vessels in your face, too. So, in a way, your forehead wrinkles might be reflecting the overall aging and hardening process happening throughout your entire vascular system.
That's a really powerful visual clue, potentially. What's the second self-check?
This one involves movement. The ankle flex test. How flexible your ankle is can tell you a lot about circulation and muscle health in your lower body.
How do you check it?
You see how far you can flex your foot upwards towards your shin. Generally, getting an angle over 60 degrees is considered normal. If you're somewhere between 40 and 60 degrees, it's a sign to be cautious. But if you can't even reach 40 degrees, that suggests some functional impairment likely related to circulation or muscle issues, which could point to wider systemic problems.
Okay, ankle flexibility, got it. And the third, subtle sign.
It's right at your fingertips, literally, your fingernails. Look closely for things like little dents or pits, strange bulges, maybe black lines under the nail, or they've become unusually brittle.
And what do those mean?
They can be signals that your extremities aren't getting enough oxygen and nutrients. And why would that happen? Often because of poor overall blood flow, hinting at underlying vascular issues.
Forehead, ankles, fingernails. Interesting, subtle clues. Okay, now let's shift to the absolute most critical part. The 119 immediate action signals. These are the red alerts where every single minute counts. Let's start with stroke.
Right. And the outcomes can be very different depending on the type. Cerebral hemorrhage, bleeding in the brain, has a really high mortality rate, around 40%. Cerebral infarction, a blockage, is lower, maybe around 5%, but still incredibly serious. Immediate action is vital for both.
So, what are the key signs to look for? Sudden onset is key.
Yes. Sudden one-sided weakness or paralysis is a classic sign. There's a simple test you can do. Ask the person to hold both arms out in front of them and close their eyes. If one arm starts to drift down or just falls limply, that's a major warning sign. Also, watch for a sudden, really severe headache or trouble speaking. A quick check is to ask them to say simple syllables clearly, like pa, ta, ka. If they struggle or slur, that's another red flag.
Okay, one-sided weakness, severe headache, trouble speaking. Got it. What about myocardial infarction, a heart attack?
The stats here are sobering too. Over half of heart attack deaths happen before the person even reaches the hospital. The main symptom is usually severe chest pain or pressure, often described as crushing or squeezing, and typically lasting longer than 30 minutes. And crucially, that pain often radiates. It might travel to the neck, the jaw, one or both arms, or the shoulder.
Okay, crushing chest pain, lasting over 30 minutes, possibly radiating. So the absolute key takeaway, if you see these symptoms in someone or experience them yourself.
Call 111 high immediately. Don't hesitate. Don't try to drive them yourself or wait it out. The ambulance team can start providing life-saving treatment on the way to the hospital. That transport time is critical, and they have the equipment and training. It significantly improves chances of survival and recovery.
Absolutely critical advice. Okay, so we know the risks, we know the warning signs, both subtle and critical. Let's move into the proactive part. The management plan. Diet, exercise, and medication.
Right. For diet, the foundation recommended is based on the DAH principles that stands for dietary approaches to stop hypertension. The main focus is boosting minerals like potassium, calcium, and magnesium. And this is the big one, drastically cutting down on sodium.
That sodium limit is tough, isn't it? The target is 2,000 milligrams a day or less. Considering many traditional diets, especially those with lots of stews, kimchi, fermented foods, instant noodles, how do people realistically hit that target? It seems almost impossible.
It really requires a conscious effort and substitutions. The sources emphasize minimizing those high-sodium foods you mentioned and actively using alternatives for flavor. Think garlic, vinegar, pepper, herbs, spices, instead of reaching for the salt shaker or salty sauces. It's about retraining your taste buds, really.
Okay, retraining the palate. To make that a bit easier, maybe focus on some positive additions. Our sources mention some powerful food pairings for vascular health.
Yes, some great combinations. First, tomato and garlic. Lycopene from the tomato and allicin from the garlic work together as potent anti-inflammatories. Second, mackerel, which is apparently the best source of omega-3s among those oily blueback fish, paired with avocado. Avocado provides healthy fats and potassium, which helps lower blood pressure. Third, switching from white rice to brown rice or other whole grains combined with beans. This pairing helps keep blood sugar levels stable, which is crucial.
And the fourth one was a snack, right? Nuts.
Exactly. Just a small handful, about 30 grams a day. That's maybe 25 almonds or about 6 whole walnuts. Gives you great heart benefits from healthy fats and fiber.
Good, actionable food tips. Now let's talk exercise. There's often debate, aerobic, like running or swimming, versus resistance training, like lifting weights. What's the latest thinking?
Well, the thinking has evolved a bit. While aerobic exercise is still vital, the recommendation is 150 minutes of moderate activity per week. Recent research is highlighting the significant benefits of resistance training. It seems particularly effective at improving several key markers of metabolic syndrome, things like BMI, waist size, blood pressure, cholesterol levels, even insulin resistance.
So it's not an either-or situation.
Not at all. The best approach is balanced. You need that 150 minutes of moderate aerobic activity each week, plus muscle strengthening exercises at least 2 days a week. And an important note, especially for older adults, when doing resistance training, use weights that are manageable, maybe only 40 to 60% of your maximum strength. This helps prevent stress fractures, which can be a risk.
Okay, balance is key. Aerobic and resistance training, with caution on weights for seniors. Finally, let's address medication. For listeners already diagnosed with hypertension or related conditions, what's the crucial advice?
The absolute number one thing is adherence, consistency. High blood pressure usually has no symptoms, which can make it tempting to skip doses, but you must take your medication exactly as prescribed at the same time each day.
What if you forget a dose? It happens.
If you remember fairly soon after, take it immediately. But, and this is critical, never double up on doses. If it's already close to your next scheduled dose, just skip the missed one and take the next dose as normal. Never take 2 at once.
That's a really important safety point. Any other practical tips?
Yes, for diuretics, which make you urinate more, it's usually best to take them in the morning. Definitely avoid taking them late, like after 6 p.m., so you're not up all night going to the bathroom.
Good tip. And what about stopping medication? Maybe you feel better or you experience side effects.
Never just stop or change your medication on your own. Even if you feel fine, the underlying condition is still there. If you have side effects, like a persistent dry cough or dizziness, talk to your doctor. Often, these can be managed simply by adjusting the dose or switching to a different type of medication within the same class. Don't suffer in silence, but also don't make changes without medical advice.
And one last crucial point on medication, potential interactions with food.
Yes, particularly with potassium. Some medications, like potassium-sparing diuretics or ACE inhibitors used for blood pressure, require you to be careful about how much potassium you get from your diet. So while foods like bananas and spinach are generally healthy, if you're on these specific drugs, eating too much potassium-rich food can actually be dangerous. It can lead to hyperkalemia, high potassium levels, which affects your heart rhythm.
So it really highlights the need for ongoing conversation with your doctor about everything, your diet, your meds, any side effects.
Absolutely essential.
Okay, this has been incredibly comprehensive. We've covered everything from, well, that quite radical shift towards zero alcohol and the surprising impact of resistance training right through to those vital 119 emergency signals.
I think the core message boils down to a few key pillars. Total commitment to quitting smoking and really minimizing or stopping alcohol, proactively managing your diet, low sodium, whole foods, those power pairings we talked about, and keeping up a balanced exercise routine with both aerobic and strength work.
Definitely. And let's end, as we usually do, with a thought to leave you with. We touched on this earlier, the strong link our sources draw between things like chronic stress and sleep patterns and actual physical vascular health, that connection between your internal state and, well, physical hardening.
It's a powerful idea. If ongoing stress can literally raise your blood pressure day after day and contribute to hardening your arteries over time, then managing your stress, your emotional health, becomes just as important as managing your diet.
So here's a challenge for you, the listener. Think about one habit, not related to diet or exercise, that you could work on starting today. Ask yourself, what small daily step can you take to actively reduce or soften the chronic stress in your life? Maybe it's a short breathing exercise, maybe it's about setting better boundaries at work or home, or perhaps improving your sleep consistency.
Taking that kind of intentional action on stress is, I think, a really vital piece of the whole prevention puzzle, and one that often gets overlooked.
Absolutely. Well, that's all the time we have for this deep dive. Thank you so much for joining us. We genuinely hope this information empowers you to take active control of your health journey.